Everyone. Yeah, it's a group presentation for the course module 7042 SSL. And my group will be talking about the clothing industry. My name is Sophia, and the rest of my themes are Indogesite, Chima, Hiro Sokari, and HM Sagara. Myself, I'll be talking about the overview of the clothing industry. So the clothing industry is one of the most thriving and profitable industry in the world. It was said that throughout the 18th century, clothing manufactured from the resin of the raw materials through weaving, spinning to sewing. It was also said that the first recorded clothing factory was located in New York City, where a ready-made clothing was made at mid-century. The clothing industry includes the fashion designer houses, retail chains, and the firms that are engaged in the manufacture of apparels. A recent trend observed in the industry is that the nation is shifting from home-based manufacturing units to sourcing products from foreign retailers, coupled with the rise in prices of raw materials, which has forced manufacturers to outsource their product units to nations like China. The fashion industry consists of four levels, which includes the production of raw materials, principally of fibers and texture, production of fashion goods by designers, and then we also have the manufacturers. In 2017, apparel products accounted for 15% of the world's relationships, where the revenue of the global apparel market was calculated to amount to 1.53 trillion US dollars in 2022. It was also said that there was a slight decrease on the previous year. However, revenue was forecasted to increase in 2023 to more than 1.7 trillion US dollars. We'll be moving over to the main exporters and the market shares. In 2021, China was the top ranked global clothing exporters with a share of approximately 32.8%, followed by the European Union, the Bangladesh, the Vietnam, and then the rest. Then we'll move over to the leading clothing brands in the world. According to the most valuable clothing brands in the world, Nike ranked the first both in 2021 and in 2022, followed by the Louis Vuitton's record followed by the Louis Vuitton, which record a turnover of 23,426 million US dollars. Then we have the Gucci, the Chanel, and then the Adidas. Now I'm going to stop here and then I'm going to call on my colleague ID to continue from where I have stopped. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. So I'll be focusing on the key features of the garment and clothing industry. The first point is that garment and clothing industry is low capital and high labor intensive. Now, due to the nature of the industry, the garment and clothing industry is known for its labor intensive operations because it relies on manual labor and quality control. Now, what am I trying to say in essence? Manufacturers in the garment and clothing industry employs a large number of low-skilled workers. You know, most of them outsourced to other countries where labor is cheap. So to this note, it is clear that in garment and clothing industry, labor cost is their major component. Next point is that garment and clothing industry, it has low entry barrier. Now, like I stated earlier, low garment and clothing industry is low capital intensive. And then during the COVID-19, it was said that the COVID-19 brought about a lot of companies going into online marketing, which gave room for low entry barrier in the garment and clothing industry. Next point is high competition. Now, to increase sales, clothing and garment industry must constantly promote new trends. This is where the explanation of fast fashion comes in. What do we understand by fast fashion? Fast fashion is actually a term that is used to describe how new trends moves quickly into the market. So now what manufacturers in the garment and clothing industry do is that they try to introduce new collections into the market to be able to meet up the test of the consumers. So the more the manufacturers, are able to provide enough for the to meet up the consumers' needs, the more they stay competitive in the market. Next slide, please. Garment and clothing industry is highly globalized. Now, garment and clothing industry operates on a global scale, with production and distribution extending to several countries of the world. Now, how dynamic is the industry? Is the industry actually growing quicker? The chart by the right shows the growth expectation of the industry. That growth happens from at 13.7% year in, year out. Now, what this means is that by the end of by 2027, it is expected that the industry is going to grow from 3.9% to 6.2%. And now the expected market size will be about 830.69 billion US dollar. So what this means is that the market is growing on a steady basis. Now, the pie chart shows the national and regionalization of the garment and clothing industry. So from the pie chart, it is clear that China is ranked the highest with 31.0%, followed by a combined effort on combined market strength of the Western Union, which is about 35.2%, then followed by India and other countries. Next point is purchasing power of large-scale buyers. Large-scale buyers are actually people who control the market. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Chima, who is going to focus on the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ide. Hello, everyone. My name is Chima, and we'll be talking about the main challenges in the MNCs in the garment industry. Firstly, the volatile and diverse markets. The volatile nature of the industry makes the customers to desire new and trending clothes, and it keeps increasing, which will lead to more rise in cost of production and to enable the producers stay in business. Also, customers also tend to go for sustainable clothing that is more durable. Secondly, the supply chain disruption. When we talk about disruption, it means lack. And some areas where this is found is in the port delay area, the transport capacity section, international trade tension, and also raw materials, which is also a challenge, a big challenge, because the non-availability of raw materials will affect the cost of production. And if the cost of production is high, the cost of the clothing will also be high due to the location where the raw materials is being imported from. Rising in labor costs and profits due to high competition. This could be also caused by sudden switch of preference from consumers, wanting to get trending clothing, whereby leaving the producer with mass waste and low profit. I will move to the next slide, where we have the state MSC's relationship between the transitional corporation and the host country. This is whereby the traditional corporation will weigh their resources, such as capital, access to the market, employment, and also their constraints, such as the degree of competition, whereby, on the other hand, the host country will also weigh their resources, such as availability of infrastructure, government incentives, and so on. And there are constraints such as degree of competition among other countries, and also political instability. Poor labor standards will be left out, and ethical issues. For example, Bangladesh, where the Rana Plaza on the 24th of April 2013, somewhere in Dhaka, it collapsed due to structural failure. Environmental challenges, which has brought a lot of challenges to the industry because of the chemicals such as dyed, which is used in the production process, that will later be dumped into the river, which will cause water pollution from these microplastics. Let us not also forget that the clothing industry is also the second polluted industry in the world after the oil sector. At this point, I'll be passing over to my colleague who will be talking more on strategies. Mr. Saga.
Thank you, Shima. I'll be talking about the strategies MNCs use to overcome these challenges. The first strategy will be the vertical integration. Vertical integration means that the company take over the entire process of supply chain into the manufacturing. So if you take the garment industry or clothing industry, they can do the sourcing of raw material, manufacturing, distribution, marketing, and sales. So this will give them the control over the entire process, whereas they can reduce their costs. Also, they have more control on the labor, and they'll be more agile on meeting the external environmental challenges as well. If you take the market leaders, Zara and H&M, they are very successful in vertical integration. If you take Zara, they have their production factory in Spain, close to their distribution headquarters, where they produce small batches of textile and garments and transport it to the main center, where they distribute it from there to the all the other world retail shops. So this reduce their cost. If you take H&M, they use the same model, but they are technologically little advanced than Zara. They have their insight into factory capabilities and stock levels of raw materials, which means that they can have a real-time ordering process on fulfilling their requirement. Also, they use trains to reduce the carbon footprint and be more efficient in distribution. The next strategy will be uh, offshoring and regionalization. Labor consisting of the highest cost in the production line of garments. So companies tend to move into low labor countries such as Southeast Asia. If you take Primark, they have about 440 factories in China. The China labor earns only about $1,000 per month, whereas the European will be around 2,000. So reduce the cost and seeking for resources, they do the offshoring as a strategy. Regionalization is another strategy where the companies use to go into other regions. As an example, Peppergin and Dollar, they have the joint venture in Asia, in India, where they can expand this market into other countries, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh. Franchising, another venture that they can use as a strategy to reduce the cost of establishment. The franchisee will be bearing the cost of setting up the business. So the the MNC will not have to spend on that. So because of that, they have a cost reduction in their starting point. So if you take Benetton, they have about 5,000 franchising units all over, and it's also easy to handle the employee relationships locally rather than from another country. So with that, I will hand over to Hero to discuss about the other strategies. Thank you.
My name is Hugo. I will still be talking on a strategy because it is one of the key fundamental in this industry, this clothing and garment industry. You know, the industry is very dynamic and it's volatile, it keeps changes. In as much as it keeps changes, know that also the preference of customers will also changes. So they keep making demand based on innovation from the various marketers and competitors. So in this industry, I'll be looking on strategy and I'll be looking at the global marketing strategy. This strategy is very fundamental because in this strategy, anything you have to do about your product, you have to consider the 4 P's of marketing, which has to do with product, price, place, and promotion. Now, Getting a product is not the problem. The problem is how can you sell this product since the market is being competitive. So you have to have so many strategy in place. And this is why at the H&M in 2012, they had a marketing director by name Steve Goboski. He decided to implement a promotion strategy by using models and actors, footballers to wear a particular product, or garment per se, and make advert, they do banner and all the rest, put it in all the media channels, and it was a booster because it encouraged their fan base. These people have larger supporters, fan base. So those people decided to patronize them based on seeing their star wearing this thing. They said they want to wear this thing. It's a strategy because the market is changing every day, so you need to come with different innovation. Some people come with discounts. There's a discount, you buy one, you buy three, you get one free. So many kind of strategy. These are strategy to outweigh your major competitors. The next slide, please. Now you look at state and MSA relationship. You have to strategize as a firm going to this industry. You need to consider the pestle analysis, which is micro. You need to consider the political, economic, and cultural implication of where you are going. How do you adapt to this country, or how do you adapt to this location? What is their preference like? What is their taste like? What is their culture all about? So in this aspect, you'll be collaborating with maybe the host community per se, the people in that industry. You make collaboration, you make integration where necessary, so that you're able to get a good market share. You will able to give the people what they want based on preference. And the state in response, we want a way for unemployment to be addressed. So in that case, they welcome anyone coming into this industry because it will solve unemployment issue for them. It will increase their GDP and technology wise. Also, you look at environmental strategy. Now, environment, there are so many ways associated with this industry because of the chemical used in production, the dyes and all those things, which at the long run, it will all be washed into the river. And this will cause a kind of pollution. But recycling have been in place in your Ancon, and it's used to turn used cloth to new cloth. I think that one is working. That one is working and it's effective. I think with that one will continue to make strategy this year. I welcome our new person for the conclusion, which is Sophia. Let her make conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hero. So we've come to the conclusion and summary of clothing industry. The clothing industry is consistent with different steps from sourcing raw materials to making and selling finished goods. The industry operates in a highly competitive, fast-paced environment with high levels of globalization, labor intensity, and dominance of buyers. Industry challenges include supply chain interruptions, labor concerns, environmental challenges, sourcing resources, and decline profits. To overcome the challenges, some strategies MNCs use are vertical integration, globalization, and regionalization, healthy MNC and state relationships, recycling and CSR projects. So we've come to the end of our presentation. If you have any question, you're free to ask us. Thank you so much. Bye.